Hello everybody, North Dakota Car Guy here, and today we're going to be doing the paint on the door. For some reason I lost the beginning of this video, so I have to redo it here. But I'm going to be going over everything that I used in the video as best as I can. The first thing I don't have anymore is sandpaper. So I used sandpaper to kind of scruff off the original paint and fix the primer, which you'll see later. And that was around 200, 300, and 400 grit sandpaper. I think it was 300 because of the discs that I had. But so that's what I used for sandpaper. And then we have Bondo body repair. So this is basically body filler. Now this is a kit, so this comes with a putty and a squeegee, I believe is what they call these dudes. So I think those can usually run around $20 or so for that. Then we have primer. Now this is automotive primer, so this is supposed to be a very durable, long-lasting primer. So we got some primer here, and then we have silver paint. So this paint coat is Galaxy Silver. So before I did the paint job for this, I went ahead and got some extra. I took my previous store and I tested the different hues with different sets of primer, and this was the best result for paint matching. So we got some Galaxy Silver body or car paint, and then we have protective clear coat. And now this is automotive class. Now this is a more cheaper kind of clear coat, and I kind of paid the price for that later, which you'll find out. So this may not be the best choice to use, but this is definitely cheaper than going for full-on automotive clear coat in a can, basically, with the kind where they got the push button on the bottom. So that's everything that I use. Now whenever you're messing with paint, make sure that you have a vapor protective mask, and don't forget eyeglasses. So with all that said, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Stay tuned for when we have to fix this guy. I'm not looking forward to fixing this. So stay tuned for the video. So now I got 320, so we'll see if this is better, because the other stuff I just used is 180, and I just went to the bare metal in that first one. So if this doesn't work, well, I'm screwed. So what we're going to do is we're going to open this up, and then we're going to have our paste inside. Probably mix this up with something. I'm going to take this and mix it a bit, I guess. see it. I'll take this. Keely, get out of here. So I'm going to take this. A little bit on here. You don't need a lot. You only need like a tiny bit. I'm going to scrunch this up into kind of a small circle. It's a little, not a ½ inch tall, not very tall at all. Then we do this formula. We got our body filler. We're going to take our hardener cream. We gotta mix it up like this. You just kind of squish it, feel it. Like that. Okay. We'll take this and just run. A line, just like that. That's all you need. Get that there. We're gonna take our thing. We're not gonna like fold it. We're gonna spread it around. Gather it all up. We don't want air bubbles in this. We're gonna take our paste, wipe it. There. We gotta do this quickly because it's starting to get hard. We're gonna take this, turn it in there. I'm gonna wipe off. Gotta really force it in there into that spot, and I'm just gonna lightly go over it. Just like that. Like the other that. Alright, so these are pretty much dry. Yeah, they're dry. Anyway, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand it until it feels perfectly smooth all the way around on all sides and there's no dips or anything. And hopefully that works because I'm not doing it again. Just kidding. If I have to do it again, I'll probably do it. So, alright, so let's get right to it. Alright, so after sanding all of the black, I forgot to record the first layer of primer, but as I was doing the primer, I realized there were like little flakes that started to appear on some of the more flatter surfaces. And I wasn't exactly sure at the time why this was happening, so I went ahead and did some test paints. I did a really thick coat, and then a semi-light brush, and then I did a super light one. And what I noticed was that when I did the super light one, all these little specks would start to appear on it, and I got mad.
And so then I tried to do some other ones, and I figured if I could do it in some pretty thick layers, I might be able to just cover up the stuff I already did. Now that was a huge mistake, because when I noticed that that was happening with the paint, I should have just stopped and waited for the primer to dry that was already on, and then sand it, and then wait for any dust, dirt, anything else that was in the air to settle out. Now the humidity, I don't actually remember how high the humidity was, but I'm assuming that might have been a key factor as well. So the paint kind of turning into these little like hair strands. So I can see here, I tried to do a really thick coat in certain areas where the flakes were really bad. And the more and more I did this, the more and more I got frustrated, and then I got really impatient because I kind of had like deadlines of like work I had to do and other stuff. So I could pay for all this, of course, but so I was being kind of lazy, and here we go. I do the first layer of silver after letting the primer dry for about like half an hour to an hour. And instead of doing the silver, I should have just went straight ahead and sanded everything, because later in the video here you'll see that I actually had to sand down some of the stuff. So I basically had to paint all of the silver again. So there are certain areas I got down to the primer. I didn't record myself sanding for whatever the reason, but yeah, it didn't turn out very well. Like the silver actually matched really good. However, you can see on the flat surfaces, that's where like you can see the darker hues, and that's where it was kind of like greedy sandpaper. But I'll let me do the talking now.
So after the horrible disappointment of yesterday, what I think happened was, because I had sanded inside the building, my mom had mentioned that maybe what happened was there was dust in the air. So as I was spraying, the dirt kind of collected in the little clumps like mid-air, and it created this very flaky surface. But like other areas of this actually turned out really nice. Like this top area here is actually like really nice. So, and of course there's like slight orange peel and Huey interrupting me. But anyway, Huey, I'm trying to do a video. But what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna lightly sand like here and just kind of the surrounding area, not super rough like I did last time, just kind of lightly going until I can get kind of down in here, and then I'm going to repaint it. With that said, I'm going to take this outside and do a bit of sanding, and I'll catch up with you guys, so I can just skip over that. Alright, so I just got the door flipped over. I let the bottom part dry for a while, and then I masked off whatever needed to get masked off. And I did a trick you can do to get this tape to not be so sticky, is I pat it on there and put that on there so that it doesn't peel up the paint. But that sat for 2 hours, and then we already sanded this yesterday. And so now, then I just cleaned it off with brake cleaner. You're supposed to use like soap and water, but I don't really have like the special stuff for that. So I went ahead and I just used brake cleaner. So this is all ready to go, and I'm going to be doing primer. But I think what I have to do is I'm going to have to sand the primer, because what happened last time with the bottom was this is kind of how it looks today, like primer and silver. And on the back side, it's
kind of what happened with the primers. It was very like flaky. I don't know why it did that, but it was like in mid-air when I sprayed it, it would like collect into these little clumps. So, but that should be fixed now. There's like still dust on here that I gotta like clean off again. But I guess I'm gonna do one more wipe down, and then we will get ready for paint or primer. We're gonna do primer, let dry, probably sand it, and then do the silver. So wish me luck.
Alright, so I don't know if you guys can hear me very well, but I'm just going to briefly explain what I'm going to do. So I now have put 2 coats of primer, or no, 3 coats of primer and 2 coats of silver. Man, it's hard talking this thing. But the issue that I'm having with this is the same thing that happened on the back side. So basically there's the light areas and dark areas because of the primer being the primer. And I thought that primer was a really good primer, but I don't know. So basically what's happening is you can only see it in the reflection. But like right there, you see that darkness. And that darkness is caused by the, the primer not like settling right. So I thought I did a pretty good job, and I think I did. I would say probably 80 to 85, 90% of this is all smooth, but then there's problems where, I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but like, okay, right there is a good example, and right there. If I move along, you can see it there too. There's just these streak lines. So what I did yesterday was what I did today is, after I let it dry it overnight, I came back and I sanded just the top. A few spots I got down to the primer, but I don't think I just kind of like did more coats at the bottom. I think I did 3 more coats on the bottom side. So that's like 6 total. That's 6 finish coats of the silver. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this at 2 coats. Just 2 coats of this silver. And I'm going to come back and sand it again. Just this top. Maybe get down to the primer in a few spots. Like I think there's a spot here that's kind of rough. There's a spot here that's also a bit rough where I did the body filler. So I'm going to go ahead and let this dry overnight. And then come back tomorrow, probably early morning, because I won't have a lot of time to do this. And then pretty much sand all of this again, but get it so that it's all smooth on here. And then put 3 coats of silver, and then 3 coats of clear coat. So I don't know what I'm going to do with the body with the rest of the car, because I don't want to have to keep doing this process of like putting coats on, sanding it, putting more paint on, because it's going to get really expensive. I mean, either way, I'm still saving money from going to a body shop. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So we'll see you tomorrow.
Alright, so I'm back. It's early morning. And I'm going to now sand this. It's been drying all night, so I can like touch it and whatnot. But yeah, it actually doesn't feel that bad compared to the bottom side that we did. So I'm just gonna go ahead lightly sand all this. I'm not able to take this outside because I want to be careful about these edges since it's still curing. And once I'm done letting it paint, once I'm done letting it dry for like all of today and stuff, I'll come pick it up in the evening, and I guess we'll try to put it back on the car, something like that. We might have to, I'll probably take this paint off, or this tape first, so I can get like, see what color, to see how close the match is, and then I might cover it and do like a few more coats of clear to make it a bit darker, or whatever I need to do to make it match as close as possible. Something I thought is like the fender here actually does have like a scratch right there. So what I might do is I might try to just fade the color and then fade it this way too, but there's like a badge here that I don't want to mess with, so I'll probably have to do just a tiny bit of fade or something. So go ahead and sand it, and hopefully it turns out good.
Alright, so to basically explain what just happened, it started to splatter paint. So basically what would happen is I'd be here, spray, and I'd go like this, like I normally would and lift, and then it would drip paint. So I started trying to clean the tip, and obviously it didn't help for whatever the reason, so then these happened. There's like a spot there, and there, and there, and there, and there. So now what I have to do is I have to sand that, and then I have to sand this mess that just happened, and it like ripped it to the primer. So yeah, I'm not happy about that. Basically what happened then is when I tried to spray this way, it just put this big glob of paint. So yeah, so now I gotta try to fix that, but this has been sitting for like 30 minutes, so it's still like tacky, so I gotta be really careful about this, not to like spread it or whatever. So yeah, I'm not in the happiest mood right now.